Welcome to Love Always Self. I'm Shyra.
Hey, y'all, I'm Karista, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Love Always Self. Do, do, do,
Hi.
do,
I know.
do.
Put a twinkle in. What?
Shira and I were just chatting about what we were going to chat about today. And we were just looking at the clock and being like, oh man, we've got some other things that we got to take care of. And so we need to make sure that this is timely. So why don't we talk about time?
What is up with time?
Mm-hmm. So we've all heard that quote. What is it? Time is relative. So what does that mean?
I,
I
shit,
know
I
for
don't know.
me. Okay, I'll start there then. Honesty. Way to be vulnerable, Shira. That's totally acceptable. So time is relative. It's relative to the eyes of the beholder.
Mm.
So whoever is perceiving the time, it is relative to that person. So with that being said, what we are suggesting is that time potentially moves differently based on our own perception.
Mic drop. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because think about it. When you are, I don't know, you're doing something really fun and it seems like time is just flying by.
Yeah.
And you're like, where did the time go? You
Mm-hmm.
say things
Mm-hmm.
like that, right? Or like when you're at work and it's really, really busy and your day is pretty productive and the day goes by really fast. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when, but honestly, lately time has been so finicky like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody
Or
else has noticed that, but you'll
or
be really,
even sorry, I'm
no, it's
so
okay.
excited.
Scare. You'll be like really, really busy. And then all of a sudden you're like, I would have sworn it's been like 5 hours, but it's only been like an hour.
Yeah. So like weekdays versus weekends,
Oh gosh.
how quickly or not quickly they go by. Or what's another one? Um, just when you're not having a good time and you are not enjoying the space, or you're having to do homework, or you're having to, go grocery shopping, or you're having to do the chores. And it seems like it's going by like a snail.
Yeah.
hmm hmm So this concept is actually a quantum physics concept. Sorry, a little brain fart. Um, so in quantum physics, not everything, and this is bare basics. I don't know a whole lot. I'm not well versed in understanding quantum physics because I feel like that's like at an Einstein or Stephen Hawking's level. So my brain may not be there, but I do understand that quantum physics is not rational. It's irrational. It doesn't always make sense. Like it's saying that we can be in two places at once, or that time is different depending on your perspective. And that's called time dilation. I had to look that one up because I wasn't sure. But time dilation refers to the fact that time passes at different rates for different observers, depending on their relative motion or positions in a gravitational field.
Hmm.
So, for example, there was like the twin theory, where same exact, twins. The twins are exactly the same. One goes up into space, stays in space for a little bit. The other one stays on the Earth. And when the twin that was in space came back down, he found that the one on Earth aged quicker.
Ooh, yeah. How weird would that be? Like seriously, you're identical twins and
Mm-hmm.
there's no difference between you and your twin in the physical form or at least. And then they come and then your twin comes back and you're like way older than your twin and you're like how is that even a thing right now? I'd be kind of mad.
Right?
Looking at my like younger self like, "Whoa. Uh-uh."
And then on top of that, the in quantum physics, there's a theory that all things are happening at once. past, present, and future.
Mm.
So where does time fit in there?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and might have to go to the guides for this one, but I will say that in my experience, I've had I've had experiences where I feel like I've jumped time, right?
Mm,
Or I've had experiences where I feel like time went missing,
mhm, mhm,
right? Um, and there's so many question marks around that. Like, did I have a blackout moment? I don't know. That's possible. At least back in the drinking days, it was.
mhm,
And oh gosh, that's another thing. Like when people do stuff like that, like where they have moments or like lapse of memory of time,
mhm,
like besides the substance abuse part, okay, let's pause it there. But like non any of that complications, it's happened. People have
mhm.
had this. There's reports of this. Like just YouTube search that. What is that, a reality jump? Ooh, are we reality shifting?
Oh, I
What?
mean, there is the idea that if everything is happening at once, past, present, and future, all it is basically jumping pages. So if you have, a book and you've got the book closed, all of the pages are happening in that one book. So past, present, and future, and all it takes is moving from one page to the next. I don't know. I don't, it's a theory, right?
I mean, but
I
who's
mean,
to say it's not even a theory? Who's to say that your experience or your thought process doesn't signify some form of reality that you're taking a memory from?
mhm, mhm.
I'm just
And I
saying.
was just remembering an experiment done by our government, our trustworthy government, that this was like, gosh, in the 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, somewhere around there. But
Mhm.
basically they took a ship and tried to transport it in time or space. And when the ship returned, the people that were on board the ship were actually um, meshed with the ship. So like if you have a wall, a human was partway through the wall.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Back it up. So that's a true that's not a sci-fi movie, that's a true story.
I mean, again, like I said, trustworthy, right? But yes, there are documentations of this experiment that occurred. And it's actually, I think I want to say that it's listed in some of the
What?
Gateway Project documents,
I
which of
swear I
course was
read
in
about
the
that.
70s. So I really don't know for sure when that experiment happened. But,
That's like some Bermuda Triangle shit right there.
and I think it was off the East Coast of the US
Of
that they were
course
doing
it
this. Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
They don't get this shit in movies from nowhere sometimes, I swear.
Oh, I am fairly convinced that what the crazy shit that we see in movies has already happened and we're just hearing about it in a movie.
Maybe it's a download. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's so many times where I see somebody put something in a movie, and it's either now. Granted, a lot of people that are in that creative space. In my belief system that we have going on here, they're receiving downloads, little buckets of information from like the collective consciousness, or maybe potential realities, or a reality in which they've existed at one point. I don't know, but I'm just saying, or it is just the imagination running wild.
But if it's imagination running wild, right? So if imagination helps us create and
Exactly.
creation helps us imagine more,
I want to be like an
which
Oprah
came
right now, and
first?
you get a reality, and you get a reality, and you get a reality.
I was thinking of Avatar and Independence Day and yeah.
I mean, Avatar could be like a real place on another planet that somebody else has experienced. Oh shit, I said that. I did. I did.
I mean, eh, if we're talking irrational quantum physics, is it possible that in our imagining these possibilities, that we are not actually, you're actually experiencing those realities, but we're just pulling it in thinking it's our imagination.
Mm.
So, with that, good old quantum physics, we are technically in two places at once.
I think we're in a lot more than two.
Okay, we're in multiple places at once.
Yeah. Because currently my brain's in Mexico on a beach somewhere. I'm physically sitting here talking to you, though.
I'll join you on that beach.
There you go. See? That's what I'm saying.
Mm.
And what do they say about the you and I were talking about this right before we hit record. What did they say about the your brain space being in another place and how that could affect time?
The brain space being
Like your
another.
thought processes, like you're thinking about being in a different place.
Well, I was sharing this with you, that if we're, zoning out, say we're driving, because this is what I was doing the other day. We were driving and, thinking about a different place, situation, event, then uh, if we are imagining or reviewing or reminiscing or whatever you want to call it, then our body may physically be here, but our brain, our mind, maybe even our emotions and our heart are with those thoughts.
Mm.
So even though physically we are in one space, can we not also be in another space mentally? I feel like that's an obvious yes.
And experiencing two different times at once
hmm
simultaneously.
hmm Because I can be
Mm.
thinking of a past event and now I'm back 10 years ago, but I'm also now.
Huh, true. I mean, in
Well,
that case, did you like reverse age? Like, did you
no, because my physicalness is here.
but if your thoughts affect your reality and your thoughts also affect how your body behaves, could
Well,
you
I guess that
then
would be dependent on my emotional state.
Mhm.
Right? Because if I'm in a happy state thinking about those, past times, then I'm going to have more, happy hormones and reduction in inflammation or stress. Whereas if I am ruminating over something that I'm pissed about how that conversation went, I am probably causing more stress and more inflammation in my body. So then I'm actually causing my body to age quicker.
Okay. Okay.
I guess it depends on your intention.
Yeah. The guides are knocking at my door at the moment, so just
Okay.
so we're clear, because I
Yeah.
set the intention that we're gonna have a little chit chat with them today, and they're
Yeah.
just like, "Ding, ding, ding, I can answer that."
So,
So
because we are in our limited physical experience on this planet, we thought that it would be fun to call in the guides and see what they have to say about time, right?
yeah, and I've been experimenting with, it's like, "Oh, do I" I have a choice as far as, like, am I gonna channel this? Am I gonna stay conscious and see if I can just listen to what they say and then repeat it? We're gonna try it out. We're gonna try it out. If I can't get it, we'll go into channeling. That's fine. They seem a little eager at the moment. So
And we actually received a listener question
we did.
on our YouTube channel. So we are taking this opportunity to ask this question as well to the guides.
Okay, ask a
So,
question.
Shira, as you prepare, I will go ahead and read the question. My question to Brady regards the limited aspect of time. And because in this realm that I find myself in, I limit myself to concerns that seem current and relevant to these times. It seems that for as long as I have had a mind to think, I have observed a series of inequities that have persevered in our times. Things such as world peace, climate issues, environmental issues, and personal experience that could be categorized as horribly inappropriate and harmful occurrences. Can you address the question of when will these things start to occupy less of our waking time so we can experience more of what you call, and I paraphrase, more enjoyable times? Once again, thank you for your time, if that exists where you are or aren't.
Okay. The first thing that they are talking to me about is the experience. Okay, they're bringing up reality shifting. I'm just going to repeat word for word, so I have no idea if this is going to make a sentence or not, okay?
Okay.
Reality shifting, synchronizations, determination is what begins to settle in on the time in which you are experiencing. You create a thought. That thought creates an action. That action creates a shift. This is coming from the zoomed out perspective of you, also referred to as a fractal. The constant, I said, elaboration of wanting to know, understand, feel, experience. Don't you think the earth is doing the same thing as a living being and a conscious being? So, your physical form being a byproduct of the earth, you are choosing to perceive the earthquakes, the tsunamis, the volcanoes, the eruptions as a bad experience. Why? Because, well, it impacts you physically. It could kill you. Yes, you could die from this physical form. But from this zoomed out, they winked at me, zoomed out perspective, this fractal of I am, it is an experience. It is still growing. It is only your perceptions and your judgment and your beliefs of what you are choosing to consider bad and good that is creating the language around thoughts around bad or good. I mean, would you not think that harm would be bad? Of course you would, in the sense that that's what you've all been taught to have an experience of polarity, of the differences, of whether or not you're happy, whether or not you're sad, whether or not you're joy, whether or not you're expressing the emotional roller coaster of being a human being. However, planet does the exact same thing. So, if the planet chooses to heal herself, and by healing herself, she wipes out a few humans, well, you signed up for that experience. That's harsh. They're showing me a bomb, like I'm getting a very disturbing image of like an atom bomb.
Mm.
Then they show me blades of grass coming from the ground from where it was desolate for so many years because of that bomb.
Mm.
And how this is the earth, this conscious being. They're almost kind of showing me like the planet, like almost like it's pulsating, like it's breathing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Like a Schumann resonance.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, they're going straight to visuals now versus
Okay.
words. So, and they're showing me, this is weird. It looks like a funnel in space, is the best way I know how to describe it. Like you ever see those like sci-fi movies where they have those like time funnels, like
Mm-hmm.
a Doctor Strange
Like
movie,
a
right?
wormhole kind of thing.
Like a wormhole. Excuse me. And it's almost like they're sucking the planet into that. And every time it goes into this so there's like these rings of lights around this wormhole.
Mm-hmm.
And every time the planet passes a ring of light, it's increasing its awareness
Mm.
and elevating its consciousness and making decisions based off of that. And that actually is impacting all of the beings on the planet, every being on the planet, uh, anything that carries energy, which we all do.
Mm.
That's very profound.
Mm-hmm.
um, oh, and I just heard this will cause perception of time to, they use the word collapse, but I was kind of like hesitant to say it. Um, oh, I get it. Okay. So the increase in awareness, causing the increase in awareness of all the beings on it, on this planet that I'm talking about, going through this like wormhole
Mm-hmm.
and passing these rings of light. And this light is kind of like their indicator to me of like a higher frequency, higher dimension, I guess. Um, then it's kind of it's causing like this effect on time, almost as in this linear thought of time in which we experience it
Mm-hmm.
would not be so linear in these higher states. They just said you could shift, you could change, you could decide, you can decide to zoom in on whatever aspect of time you're thinking about just by a mere thought. I'm asking them to answer our listener's question. So the experiences are your perceptions of your experiences is what needs to change more than the experiences themselves.
Mm.
If you're choosing to focus on how everything is bad, everything is bad, everything is bad, then you're going to continue to experience everything is bad, everything is bad, everything is bad. We're not saying that what you are perceiving, oh, they said in the judgmental state in which you have been deciding to experience it. That feels harsh. That is the choice. That is the choice that you're making. That is part of your decision. That is part of your experience all in itself. Okay.
Awesome. Made me think of like having everything is bad glasses on. Like just take them off. Easier said than done.
It's kind of cool. You're purple right now. It's weird because like I'm blue when I see myself in this, and you're purple. Anyway, I love the color of auras when I come out of seeing those visions like that. I kind of see that a little bit, like energy colors, I guess you call it. But is that aura? I think that is aura.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
digressing.
I think it's really cool that, you know, just calling to attention to the conscious being that Earth is.
Hmm. Seeing it
And
pulsate like that.
the visuals that I was getting really helped me to kind of personify Earth. Because when we are able to relate with other, you know, humans, sometimes that's easier. So when we can personify something, sometimes we can relate to it easier. And also how powerful she is. And she's going to keep herself right and well.
Yeah, that was clear.
Yeah.
That was very clear.
She will go on.
She could definitely go on with or without us. I kind of didn't even want to say some of it. I was like, oh shit.
It's true.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you as a person have a parasite, you're going to take medication to get rid of it.
We're not saying we're parasites.
I don't know. I'm not. saying that we're not, or at least some of us aren't.
So shit. Um, so here was a very clear one. Here was a clear vision. As much as we think we are affecting our planet, she is much stronger than that.
Mhm.
Uh,
It's, are we going to create an environment where we can coexist and cohabitate?
yeah.
Or are we going to continue to drain it and strain it until it kicks us off?
Well, let's just say she won't kick us off, but she will definitely wipe us out. So,
Well, that,
yeah. But
she may ingest us, like open up her.
yeah. Yeah. But it was kind of cool to see this elevation process that the planet and all of us are going through.
Mhm.
And just understanding that like our perceptions of time is only going to get a little bit more interesting as we do this. Um
I had a couple thoughts as well. So, as three-dimensional beings, we are limited by the fourth dimension.
right.
So,
Yeah.
we can be, right? We can also learn, awaken our awareness, connect to consciousness, all that other stuff. Yes. But the majority of us, or a large part of us, are limited
Yeah.
by the understanding of time or perspective of time, the logic time, the linear time. There we go.
The linear.
Um, so that was just a thought, right? That, as you decrease dimensional beings, they are limited by the next dimension. I don't know if
Right.
I'm saying that right, but
Yeah.
and so as we transcend and elevate our consciousness, we will ultimately transcend the limitations of time. The second thought that I had was, we started documenting time back in like 1500 BC. So I was wondering, how much time has changed since then? Meaning, the universe is forever growing and expanding, which means we are slowly, to our perception, moving farther away from other planets, right? Other things, other stars, everything like that. So, if that's the case, is time lengthening? Like, we can't prove, or maybe we can speculate, that Earth has moved farther away from the sun. And if that's the case, the orbit's gotten bigger, which means it takes longer to get around the sun, which means time is slower now than it was previously.
That's a wild thought process. And I mean, but who's to say that there's no validity in that?
And on
I
top of that, I'm going to add to it.
yeah.
I'm going to use the factual Bible. So in like Genesis and Exodus in like the Old Testament, people lived to be hundreds of years old. So
Mhm.
if time was moving faster back then, meaning the orbit was smaller around the sun, the year was shorter, were they really 900 years old? Like if you compared how many, but then the days would also be different. I don't know. I don't know how you compare it. But maybe that's why
Wow.
we, I don't know, have shorter lives. I don't know.
I
Not to
don't
mention all
know.
the death and disease,
Yeah.
or not death, but disease,
Yeah,
whatever,
I was gonna say,
other
I was like,
factors.
you know, our food might be doing that to us right now. So yeah. but
These were
but
all just like thoughts, and again, not saying this
those are good
is
thoughts.
100% what we believe, but these are questions that we
No.
ask to expand our understanding, or just to think, right? Philosophize.
I like that. Philosophize. And and to add to that, because they're still talking. So I'm gonna tell you what they're saying.
Mhm.
they said that this is wild. So they said that outside of this concept that was made,
Mm-hmm.
created here,
Invented.
invented. They use quote fingers. So time is not experienced in the universe in that way. It's not linear.
Mm-hmm.
The those the beings that are experiencing experiences, physical, okay, are at a different frequency and level than what we are, in the sense that we can't even perceive them.
Mm-hmm.
They have a different experience, and they also understand the concept of being able to, they use the
Move
word
like that?
delineate.
Okay.
Um,
Differentiate.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was having a hard word to make out on that one for just a second. But yeah, so like they're kind of like trying to tell me, they want me to say this, and I'm hesitant because it's out
Oh,
there.
spit it out.
So like, okay, fine. I'm gonna say it.
You
I'm gonna
just
say it.
channeled. I mean, come on, that's out there too. Come
I
on.
mean, true.
Put it out there.
True. Just figure, our audience is probably used to that by now. But okay, we're going in. So
I'm going in.
I'm going in. Oh. So okay. If you can grasp your brain somewhat around the fact that outside of this density and less dense beings, locations, I don't know if it's like location, but okay, you have the ability to choose what frame of reference you have ever experienced or would like to experience. Meaning, this thought that I'm telling you right now, or that I'm translating to you right now, is basically explaining to me, and how I can possibly understand it and translate it back to you, how time doesn't exist, and all experiences are happening at the exact same time. And say I'm reading a book about history, okay, Egyptian days. My current experience is to read about something that I perceive to happen long ago, even though that is actually happening at this exact same moment as well. And if I wasn't having this such dense physical experience, having this linear sitch that I'm in, I could decide to go back and have that experience.
Oh man, that would have made homework so much easier.
Right? True story.
Like learning history, that would have made things so much easier.
And I just heard astral projection is another form of this. So, like,
or astral travel.
Or astral travel, right. So, man, you're right. Like, that would have made, but I'm pretty sure we would have been like arguing with the history teacher at that point. We're like, y'all are so wrong. I don't
Somebody
agree with
lied in the
you.
history books.
Yeah, this isn't accurate, yo. Like,
man, talk about not being able to manipulate history. I don't know. Time is a mind fuck.
Yeah. I am thoroughly interested on the comments for this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right. So on that, I think it's time to say goodbye.
I always think when I do this wave, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, when they visit the planet that they weren't supposed to be there, and all of a sudden this like hologram appears, like the planet's closed at the moment, and then it goes, enjoy your rockets.
What is
That's the rockets that they fire at the ship.
I know, but Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. All righty, guys. We greatly appreciate your continued support and love. And please send us more questions. We love these listener questions. So, any way that you want to do that, whether you send us an email at contact at lovealwaysself.com. There we go. You can find that on our link tree and also our website, lovealwaysself.com. You can also comment on the YouTube videos. So please like, subscribe, hit that notification, little bing, so you can stay up to date on all of our upcoming exciting episodes. Oh, I'm super excited about the guests that we are having on in a few weeks. Carolyn Horn, she
What?
is coming on to share about Akashic Records reading. So I'm super excited about that.
Yes.
Mhm. So with that, you guys, we again love you, appreciate you, and don't forget to love first
Love last.
and love always. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, listener, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this moment. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and we look forward to our next connection.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to stay notified of new content from Love Always Self. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to discuss, please hit us up on any of our social media platforms linked in the show notes below.
I'm Karista.
And I'm Shyra.
And until next time, remember to love first
Love last.
and love always. Love Always Self podcast is meant for entertainment purposes only. We do not make any warranties about the completeness, reliability, and accuracy of the information presented in this podcast. Any action you choose to take upon the information in this podcast is strictly done so at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of our podcast. Any and all medical concerns should be addressed with a licensed healthcare provider, as well as any questions that may be derived from the information discussed in this podcast.